Paramedics arrived, I was in the room. I can only recall leaving the room once, and that was twice actually. And that was to put the children in the car once, so that when they brought their father out on the gurney or however they brought him out, so that they wouldn't have to see his body. And the second time was to just alert the security that he would possibly be coming out soon, and we got to just keep our guard up for the paparazzi because they were already climbing in the trees just trying to get different shots.
Okay. Now, do you know what an IV stand is?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see an IV stand in the room when you came in? Or at some point while you were up in the room?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall where it was in the room when you came up?
No, sir.
Okay. Other than the IV stand, did you notice any other medical type equipment?
No, sir.
Now, at some point, did you observe Mr. Jackson being brought down on a gurney by the paramedics?
Yes.
Okay. And where were you when that happened?
I was already downstairs on that last trip downstairs to alert the other guards about him possibly coming down soon. That was when they actually began to bring him down.
Okay. So you were already downstairs and saw him coming down the stairs?
Yes.
Okay. And where were the children at that point?
In the vehicle.
And did you see Mr. Jackson being loaded into the paramedics' vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. And you were downstairs still?
Yes.
Outside?
Yes.
What happened then?
Dr. Murray hopped in the paramedics' car with the paramedics with Mr. Jackson, and we all hopped in our vehicles and trailed him to the hospital.
Okay. And so you followed behind the paramedic vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. And did you follow them to UCLA?
Yes.
And what did you personally do immediately upon arriving at UCLA?
First, as we arrived, the paparazzi were trying to swarm the paramedics. So the first thing we did was shield his body. We took off our jackets, shielded them so that they couldn't get too many pictures of him going inside. Then we shielded his children with our jackets and helped carry them inside. And once everything was inside, I contacted the head security, or I believe it was a police officer for the UCLA hospital. And I made contact with him. I let him know who was with us, who wasn't with us, and the type of paparazzi and people that he would be getting. People saying that they were related to him, people saying all these things, and that cleared through us before you let any of them anywhere around this whole situation. Okay.
And so the children, Prince, Paris, and Blanket, were they put into a room?
Yes, sir, they were.
Okay.
Yes.
And then at this point, then did you see Michael being taken into the emergency room?
Yes. Immediately he was taken into the emergency room.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then the children were put in a room?
Yes.
Okay. And you described the security arrangements, at least at that point?
Yes.
At that point in time, then, what were you doing?
Well, there was a lot going on with his family arriving and, people trying to sneak in. So I was back and forth between checking on him and what was going on and checking with the security and making sure his family was able to get in and making sure different people that were arriving that were supposed to be there were able to get in.
Okay. Were you at UCLA at the hospital when you learned that Michael Jackson had been pronounced dead?
Yes.
At some point after learning that Mr. Jackson had been pronounced dead, did Michael Amir Williams relay to you a request of Conrad Murray?
Yes, sir.
What was that?
That he needed to go back to the house and that there was a cream that Mr. Jackson wouldn't want the world to know about that he needed to get.
And did you reach an agreement with Michael Amir Williams as to what the response should be to Dr. Murray?
Yes.
What was that?
That he shouldn't enter the house under any circumstances.
Do you remember coming up with a story about the police taking your keys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was that discussed with Mr. Williams?
That, yeah, Mr. Williams, that was, yeah, he came up with that story to
Okay.
make sure to tell Dr. Murray that the police took our keys. That way, it wouldn't even be any chance of him trying to say anything else. That way, it would just completely end that us taking him anywhere.
Okay.
Mr. Walgan, you let me know when it's convenient to take the mid-afternoon break.
This is fine, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let us take the mid-afternoon break. Please remember all of the admonitions and orders. You may take the break in the jury room. It'll be about approximately 15 minutes. Thank you. Our president as well. Alternate number 2, you got him? Thank you. Mr. Muhammad, good afternoon again, sir.
Good afternoon.
Do you acknowledge you're still under oath and still sworn to tell the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Resumption direct, Mr. Walgan.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a few more questions. Okay, Mr. Mohammed, I believe we left off where you'd indicated the statement by Dr. Murray about the cream and that you and Michael Amir Williams had agreed to respond that the police had taken your keys, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Following that interaction with Mr. Williams, did Dr. Murray approach you directly?
Yes, sir, he did.
Okay. And what, if anything, did he say to you at that time?
He said that he needed to, he said that he was hungry and he wanted to get something to eat. And so he needed a ride, he needed to leave.
Okay.
So,
And did you agree to give him a ride?
no, sir. I
What
told
did you tell him?
Yeah, we can't take you anywhere. I told him that there was actually a cafeteria at the hospital.
And after you told him that there was a cafeteria at the hospital, did you see him go anywhere?
Yes, sir. I saw him leave.
What did you see exactly?
Well, the way the hospital is set up, there's glass doors in a L shape, so I could see him go through this door and then come through this side of the glass and eventually walk all the way out and exit. I couldn't see him actually exit, but I just seen him walking towards where he was exiting at.
So you actually at that time saw him walk out of the building?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Describe the this way and that way, if you could.
Wait, is this, I'll clarify, Your Honor.
All right, thanks.
This is in the lobby area of UCLA?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And there's glass windows.
Yes, sir.
If you're in the lobby looking outside, there's basically a wall of glass?
Yes.
Okay. And there's also before you get to the actual exit door, there's kind of an exit room encased in glass. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. And could you see, from your vantage point, if someone was to walk out of the lobby and go into that rectangular glass enclosed room immediately before exiting the building, could you see all of that area?
Yes.
Okay. And you were actually in the lobby at that time?
Yes, I was.
Okay. I have one moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
And I'm going to ask if the bailiff could assist in switching over so we can play video.
It's not in Deputy Jones's job description, but he's always do that. Will you do that for us?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Please. A little ways away from the mics. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chernoff. Mr. Walgren.
May I play the video, Your Honor?
Do you want something marked?
Yes, it'll be a CD that I'll subsequently move into evidence, Your Honor, but it's going to be People's 25.
Are we skipping 24?
People's 24.
All right, People's 24. CD,
May I play it, Your Honor?
please. Any objection, Mr. Chernoff?
No, I don't have it.
Thank you.
We get the lights, please.
Yes, give us a moment. Spencer?
Mr. Williams, do you recall what Conrad Murray was wearing that day?
Mr. Muhammad.
I'm sorry?
Mr. Muhammad.
I'm sorry. Mr.
Yes,
Muhammad, do
no
you recall what Conrad Murray was wearing that day?
Yes, sir. A white shirt with some writing on it, and I believe khaki pants.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Is it possible to make it darker, Your Honor?
It is. Spencer?
Do you see Conrad Murray in this video?
Yes, sir.
And do you have the pointer? Can you identify it?
Yes, sir. Right there.
And is this in the lobby area that you described of UCLA?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Left-hand side of the
Thank you, Your Honor.
photo.
And again, on the left-hand side of the photo, do you see, are these kind of the glass, the wall of glass that was described earlier?
Yes.
Okay. And does this depict the lobby area that you testified to as far as you seeing Conrad Murray at least walk toward the exit area?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to play the video at this time. Is that what you saw, Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And after you, after Conrad Murray goes off camera at the bottom of this video, just you personally, did you see Conrad Murray again?
No, sir.
Okay.
Do you turn on the lights?
Sure, Your Honor. Thank you.
Or do you need
No, that's fine. Please.
Ms. Spencer?
After you personally saw Conrad Murray walk toward that area, did you personally see Conrad Murray again?
No, sir.
Okay. But you don't know where he went?
No.
Okay. You don't know if he re-entered the building or not?
The hospital?
Correct.
No, sir.
Okay. But this depicts where you were at the time you saw Conrad Murray walk toward the exit?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you'd said earlier, Mr. Mohammed, that you didn't see any medical equipment, but you did see an IV stand in the room. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Do you recall where the IV stand was when you came into the room?
Yes, I believe it was near the bed, to the right, to the far side of the bed.
Okay. And did you make any observations about the IV stand one way or another?
No, sir.
Okay. Let me show you a picture. This would be marked People's 25, Your Honor.
It is.
Showing you People's 25. No. Just switch back to the Elmo, Your Honor. Do you see in this picture it has what appears to be a saline bag and some tubing hanging from it?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember seeing that one way or another on June 25th?
No, sir.
Okay. I mean, you one way or another, you just don't recall seeing it one way or another?
I recall seeing an IV stand in the room. I just don't recall whether or not Dad was already hooked up to it or not.
Okay. Now, after you were in the lobby area, what did you do while at UCLA?
After I spoke with Dr. Murray?
Yeah, in the lobby area where you described seeing Conrad Murray walking, what did you do after that?
I went back and spoke with his, I went back to where his children were, because I believe at that time they were getting ready to take his children to go see his body or something, and we were still working. So even though I was dealing with that, it wasn't a major part because at this time we didn't know what was going on. So I was still working. I was still
Okay.
actively working.
At some point, did you leave and get in the vehicles to go somewhere?
Yes,
Okay, and with whom did you leave?
with the security team that we came with.
Okay, do you remember specifically who you were with? or-
Yes, Michael Amir, Alberto Alvarez, I believe Isaac, other security guards. I'm not sure exactly who was there.
Okay, and where did you go?
I'm not sure where we were headed, but I remember we received a call while we were driving saying that the detectives are at the house. They would like for you guys to come back to the house and question you.
Okay, and did you do so?
Yes.
Okay, and did you speak to the police once you got back to Carrollwood?
Yes.
Okay. And did you give a brief interview at that time?
Yes, I did.
And then later, on August 31st, 2009, did you give a more detailed interview?
Yes.
Okay. And that was with the detectives that are actually assigned to the case?
Yes.
Okay. And at that time, did you tell them everything you recalled that you thought was relevant about the case as far as what you could remember?
Yes.
Okay. And you were truthful?
Yes.
Okay. You were truthful here today?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Walgren, thank you. Cross-examination. Mr. Chernoff?
Mohammed, you see Dr. Murray in this video?
Yes.
This is, I think we see the timestamp is at 16:32.
Yes.
Do you know who he's talking to right there?
No, sir, I can't tell.
Okay. Are you in the video?
No, sir, not that I see.
Where are you while this is going on?
I'm not
would
sure,
you know?
sir.
Where were you at 4:30?
I don't know, sir.
Don't know. Were you outside the glass walls?
As I said, I was actively working, so throughout that 5-6 hour period that we were at the hospital, I was in a variety of places.
You see Dr. Murray just standing there, right?
Yes.
Talking to some people, right?
Yes.
Mr. Chernoff,
Pause
is
it for
this,
just a
is this a
second.
new exhibit?
No, it's just a continuation.
All
of
right.
the same
I just
exhibit.
wanted to be clear.
Using
Thank
a
you.
different method of showing it.
Thank you.
Well, to be precise, our exhibit was a clip. So the exhibit that is being presented so far is the clip that has been played. This is a lengthier version.
Well, in view of that, I think we should mark it as a separate exhibit. Do you want it marked A,
Well, I
Mr. Chernoff?
Yes, that's fine, but this is part of the people's CD. I'm just playing
No,
more
that's
of.
what I just said. It's not.
Oh, they didn't, not the whole thing. Oh, okay.
So this
This
is
is
a new
new.
exhibit. Defense
Oh, okay.
A is an alpha.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
All right, so we see Dr. Murray here in this video, right?
Yes.
When you were at the hospital, you traveled, how did you get to the hospital?
We drove.
Who's we?
Myself and the other security that I was with.
Okay. And did you drive in the Escalade?
Yes.
Okay. Well, where was your car?
My car?
Yes, your car.
My car was still at Mr. Jackson's house.
So you left it at Mr. Jackson's house?
Yes. Well, I was actually with my wife that day. So she took my car eventually, but at the time that we left, it was still at Mr. Jackson's house.
So how did you get home that day?
My wife came and got me later that night.
Okay. But you know that Dr. Murray's car was left at Mr. Jackson's house. You remember that, right?
Excuse me?
You remember that Dr. Murray's car was left at
Yes.
Mr. Jackson's house.
Yes.
And he came to the hospital in the ambulance.
Yes.
So he had no way to get home if he didn't have someone else drive him, right?
There's taxis, buses. There's a variety of ways to transport yourself if you need to leave or go somewhere.
But he had to transport himself. You didn't offer to take him, right?
No.
He asked, can you go help me get my car? And you said no.
Yes.
Okay. So he
Excuse
had...
me. He never asked, can he help go get his car? He asked if we could take him back to his house because of the cream. He asked if we could take him back to his house because he needed to get something. And he asked about getting something to eat. He never spoke on his vehicle.
So he never asked you to go get his car?
No, sir.
He told you he wanted to go get something to eat.
Yes.
And he asked you to take him to get something to eat.
Yes.
Now, so at the end of the day, you went home, or you went to Mr. Jackson's house, right? And your wife came and picked you up
Yes.
and took you home.
Yes.
And when you left, that end of the day, you saw that Dr. Murray's car was still at the Jackson residence.
Yes.
Okay. May I continue, Judge, with this?
Please.
Can I borrow your pointer? Okay, thank you. I'm going to point up here to the top left-hand section of this room. This little enclave here. Do you see where I'm pointing?
Yes.
It's
Okay. Just raise your hand and ask me. One of our jurors is asking if it's only right. So what we'll do is we'll dim the lights for your request. You're welcome. Juror number 10. Ms. Benson? Let's dim both sets if we can.
Thank
It's
you.
a little bit better for you all.
You see this little enclave in here that's
Yes.
off this room?
Yes.
Do you know who is in that enclave?
No, sir.
Do you know what's going on in that little enclave?
No, sir.
All right. Did you ever go in there?
Yes.
Why did you go in there?
I'm not sure at the time why we went. I do remember entering that room. I believe we spoke to the detectives in that room.
That's what I was going to ask you. The detectives were set up in this little room here.
Yes.
Okay. And this is Dr. Murray right here. I'm pointing to the figure here on the bottom, right?
Yes.
Is that Dr. Murray?
Yes.
Do you know who Dr. Murray's hugging in this portion of the video?
No, sir.
Prior to Dr. Murray leaving, did you ever see him go talk to the police and tell them that he was leaving?
No, sir.
You don't know, actually, based on your memory, you don't know whether Dr. Murray even left the hospital at that time, do you?
Excuse me?
You don't even know whether Dr. Murray left the hospital at the time that you didn't see him anymore.
I watched Dr. Murray leave the hospital, if that's what you're asking.
So, you said that you saw Dr. Murray go through these glass walls here. Is that right?
Yes.
And you're saying you watched him leave the hospital at that point?
I watched him walk away from the hospital. Yes, sir.
This is marked offense B, Judge.
B is in Bravo,
Yes.
and it's described as
62509-16479. It's a video titled 16479 that we received in Discover.
video. B is in Bravo.
You see the timestamp on this particular video?
Yes.
1702?
Yes.
Let me go back just a little bit. You recognize this hallway, Mr. Muhammad?
Yes.
What is that hallway?
It's the hallway of the hospital.